Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay. These are going to be general messages for the sign of Aquarius in mid-March 2020. What is going on, Aquarius? How are you guys doing? I hope that you are doing well. All right, guys, welcome to mid-March. Welcome back to the channel for me. If you are following me for a while, a subscriber of mine, you may have noticed I took a little bit of a time out in the middle of February. I kind of dropped everything. I was in the middle of recording a certain series, the No Communication series, and I just stopped because at that time Mercury retrograde was going on, and it really knocked a girl for a loop. It really, took the wind out of my sails, and I had to go sit on the spiritual timeout bench, and Spirit and universe worked with me, and I had myself a little spiritual upgrade, and by the time I came back, we were all sent home. Well, not all of us. Many of us have been sent home because of the COVID-19 coronavirus situation that's going on, the crisis that's going on in many of our countries and many of our cities and towns. So I say all of that to basically welcome myself back to the channel, welcome you back to the channel, and if however you're affected at this time concerning, the corona situation, I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you're safe. I hope that your family and friends are also safe and well protected and healthy. It's a trying time. A lot of people are being met with the challenge of what to do, being out of work, what to do, being restricted in their movements, being able to leave their homes, and it's a sign of the times. But I think we're going to get through it. So, again, wishing you well in all of that, and I just am a firm believer that it's going to get better before it gets worse. So, hang in there, be patient with yourself, be patient with others, and let's see how this all shakes out. Okay. All right, Aquarius, let's get into it. I have shuffled off camera. That is your main spread there. I'm going to shuffle on camera now for your outcome and your overall energy. Once all of the cards are out and they're lying face up on the table, that's when the reading begins. Timestamp is in the description box if you want to jump ahead. You will find the information you need to get a personal reading with me if you wish to do so. That information is also in the description box. And brand new to my opening spiel, your girl has joined Instagram as a tarot reader. Ooh, ah. And my name on there is EmpathicFire Tarot. So you're going to see a little graphic right about there, Z's. That'll show you that name in case you want to pop over and hit me with a follow. That would be great. I'm pulling daily oracle cards on there as of yet, so it's not tarot, it's more oracle based just yet. And I'm doing intuitive interpretations of the tarot, or excuse me, of the oracle cards that I'm pulling. So if you're interested in that, to get a little bit of a daily nugget from me, a little piece of intuitive and empathic knowledge from me, you can go ahead and join me over there. Again, EmpathicFire Tarot on Instagram. All right, that's pretty much the intro. Let's get into the business. Show me Aquarius's outcome for mid-March, please. Mid-March outcome for Aquarius, please show me. Was that a flip? No. Okay. Do I smell cookies baking? Oh, I'm going to be so excited if there are cookies baking. I'll be a lucky girl. I could be wrong, though. Maybe that's just like wishful thinking. Maybe my nostrils are like, oh, yes, please. Bottom of the deck is the overall energy. Down like that. Only one card came face down, so let's see what's shaking with it. All right, and that's the story. And we're going to interpret it. Let's see what's happening. All right, please show me where Aquarius is in mid-March 2020. Mid-March 2020, where is Aquarius? Please show me. Okay. We got there. It was a little jaunting, just a little bit, not too much, but wasn't expecting them to. It was like sort of like a punch to my third eye. But anyway, here we go. All right, Aquarius, coming into mid-March, you come in with, oh, is this going to not focus very well with this deck today? The Three of Wands. Let me see. New camera, new setup, and so there we go. I'm trying to master this thing. Oh, she kind of looks like Selma Hayek. This is one of my newer decks, so I'm still getting used to it. But Something in her face just gave me like Salma Hayek vibes, so that's interesting. Maybe you're a fan of Salma Hayek, who knows? But Three of Wands, more to the point for your reading, Aquarius. This has been coming up thematically, and it makes sense considering what's going on a global scale, on the macro scale. But this Three of Wands is signaling to what's next. There's an interest, there's a focus, there is a concern about what am I going to do now that XYZ is happening, or what am I going to do in order to get to A, B, C in my life? You know what I mean? There is this rush because of the art. There's a little bit of a rush or an anticipation of this coming down the line for you. You might be making decisions. You might be getting in, oh God, with the focus. It's got to be the deck, because I just recorded a video and it was fabulous. The focus was working perfectly. Anyway, so you see this woman rushing down this staircase with the candelabra in her hand. And it feels like, I got to get this done, or I have to do this. I have to do it now, or it's got to be now, or I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. There's like this chomping at the bit energy that I'm feeling with this card for you, Aquarius. So I feel as though whatever you're working on, or what you're wanting to work on, what you're wanting to establish, where you're wanting to go, how you're wishing to navigate through this next phase of your life or this next project, because wands can indicate a particular project or a particular goal, something that you have manifested or are in some way partnering in creating. It's like, I want to do my part. I want to do what I'm supposed to do. I want to have a handle on this. It's very interesting. It's like, I'm getting the sense that some of you are either striking out on your own, is sort of a feeling I'm getting for some of you. Others of you, you're striking out in a partnership and you want to, collaborate with someone and do that very well. Others of you, this is about moving, some of you, this is about moving towards something. Others of you, this is about moving away from something. It's still the same motion. It's still the same drive. It's still the same thrust forward, but you're all doing it in different ways, which makes sense. This is a collective reading. It's also general, so remember, it can be flipped. I could be talking to a cross watcher or about someone around you who's going through this experience. But that Three of Wands is like, hey, here's what I want, or here's what I've been thinking. This is what I've been dreaming of. This is what I have an idea about creating. I want to go here. I want to do this. I want to go there. I want to say that. I want to talk to these people. I want to meet with these people, blah, 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 blah. And as I'm getting, what am I doing with my hand? Oh, scatter. Thank you. Sometimes I do things, I'm like, why am I doing that? And then they have to tell me. This is scattered in some ways. So either it's scattered because I'm getting a lot of different storylines to begin with, and hopefully we can funnel it down and make it a little bit more cohesive, or you are scattered, meaning, they're like, talk about it, because it's been coming up in all the readings, because it's the reality that most of us, or many of us, are living in. It's like this quarantine thing, this lockdown thing, this stay in your home thing. That could be getting a lot of you. Your creative juices are flowing. Your creative juices are sort of bouncing off the wall. You have 1.5 million ideas and nowhere to put them, or no way to to bring them into fruition, right? So that could be why this scattered energy is here. It's like you have a lot of energy. I was just talking to Capricorn about this. A lot of people have a lot of energy that they can't expend. They can't get it out of themselves fast enough, because you're literally in your house. What are you going to do? If you, God forbid, you live in a bedroom, a 1-bedroom apartment or a small condo or something like that, it's like there isn't enough space for you to move. There isn't enough time for you to be alone and decompress. You're constantly surrounded by the people you live with. You might live in an apartment building, and the neighbors that live above you, that I didn't no, I was in college. Quick little anecdote. I was in college, and it was one of my neighbors to one of my sides. And I enjoyed, going to classes and going to work, because I didn't have to be home that often to hear them. And when I was home, like, their music was loud. They had sex very loudly. They argued very loudly. And it was just like, oh my God, thank God I'm only here so many hours in the day. If you live in an apartment complex and you've got neighbors on any side of you, and they are just doing the most, they're cooking fish every meal, they're stomping their feet, they're blasting their music, they're whatever. So there's this feeling of you have nowhere to go, or you have no release for what you're wanting to get off the ground, what you're wanting to bring into this world, or what you're wanting to move towards, especially if you're trying to get away from something. Now that's interesting. In some of your cases, oh, that's interesting. In some of your cases, Aquarius, you were, some of you are like, just my, just my fucking luck. This is like the sentiment of like a handful of you, just my fucking luck. The moment I was ready to hand in my 2 weeks notice, this whole thing with Corona came along, and I couldn't go. I can't go to my new job. So now I have to, you know what I mean? Or I can't leave, in some of your cases, I can't leave this house or this relationship. That's just for a few of you. But ultimately, I'm getting this, it's like you're, for those who remember growing up, like, and I didn't do this, I was a turner and I was very terrible at it. But you know, like when you're turning double Dutch, if you don't know this, like Google it real quick. When people are turning double Dutch, and like this in out gesture that the person who's going to jump has to go through, they have to find the rhythm. They have to find the perfect time to jump in between the ropes so that they can, you know, do their turn. So that's what I'm seeing. Like somebody who's like, come on, let me in, here I go, and you can't because of, you know, the atmosphere that most of us are under right now, quarantine, staying at home, you know, total lockdown of your city. In terms of how that could be affecting you, it's a huge effect on people with their jobs. Again, you were trying to start a new job, you were trying to leave one to go to another one, you were about to break ground and open up your own brick and mortar store, you had like a nice little boutique. I'm going to start selling my custom made jewelry, and I have my friend's artwork here, and I've got these custom made dresses and everything like that, and you were ready to open your doors, and then bang, New York City is shut down. LA is shut down. This place is shut down. All these places are shut down. Unless you are essential business, you ain't going nowhere, right? So here we are, all this energy, all this intention, all this bright idea, all this I'm ready, and you got nowhere to go. You are restricted. You are held back. You are told no for the moment, right? So that's frustrating because, you know, Aquarius is pretty, you know, I wouldn't say you're energetic. Some of you are, obviously, because we're all individuals. You're not ruled by your sign. It's just an aspect of your personality, right? So, but I get the sense that, you know, you're not doing whatever your movement is or your desire is or your idea is, whatever this point of creation or point of wanting to jump off and get into something, you have considered it for a while, or you have put a lot of detail into it and energy and effort into it. And so now that it's not happening, you're kind of like, well, again, isn't that my luck that it's just not happening now? Okay. So what else happens? Well, all right. Patience. Yes. Very good. Good. You're one of the first signs where they gave me the word patience, and it wasn't a directive. It was more of like a welcoming it in, getting used to patience. Very good. And immediately it's like, but also frustration. But let's see where we're going. So what happens next with Aquarius? Show me, please. So yeah, here we are. Ace of Pentacles right next door. So, you know, some of you, there we go. So for some of you, as Aquarius would, one of your skill sets or one of your abilities that Aquariuses tend to have pretty well, or pretty often, I should say, is thinking outside the box. And, you know, you might see the Ace of Pentacles, if you're familiar with tarot, and thinking outside the box in tandem with that Three of Wands right next to it. Yes, because the Three of Wands is industrious. The Three of Wands indicates some type of creativity or some type of passion to create. And now we have something that comes along that says, okay, I have this passion to create. I have this passion and this drive to get something done in my life, but how do I do it? So I got to think outside the box. And here's a solid way of doing that. Now, for those where this is affecting your business life, if this is about, you know, you opening up your shop and you were going to open a brick and mortar, but you've been delayed because of that, now you might turn to your social media. You might go on Instagram and start selling your wares there. You might open up an Etsy shop, you know, for the next month or two, or do an online sales type of thing where, you know, and it would be kind of short-sighted if you didn't already have those things in place, but now your emphasis is purely on the online sales or online presence instead of showing up in the physical world in your city, in your town, where you were hoping to drum up some business, right? If this is about you personally just having a bunch of energy to spare and you need to burn off excess calories, and you need to, you're like an adult, 4-year-old, you need to burn out your own energy in order to have a sound a rest at night. So you can't go to the gym, you can't, do anything too physical because you're supposed to not be leaving your house in some cases, right? So what do? I saw a guy that was featured on the news. He ran an entire marathon. I don't know how many times he had to do this, but he ran an entire marathon going back and forth on his balcony, on his apartment balcony. I don't know what kind of marathon he was running, but he allegedly did the whole thing. Now, are you that upstairs neighbor who's annoying the person below you because you're running a marathon on your balcony? Maybe. But doing any and all of those things, or again, making amendments, making changes, being able to adapt to the circumstances, only a few signs have really come out the gate swinging in that sense of, okay, this is a slight setback. It is annoying, but I'm not going to let it stop me. I'm not going to let it curtail what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to start a business. I'm trying to keep up on my health. If this is about, which has come up a few times, and I see you do have a page here on the table, if this is about to do with your kids and having to get them to exercise or to get them involved in things, you're coming up with creative ways, to get your kids, to keep them occupied in this time away from school, where, I'm not a parent, but, and you might not be, but for those who are, this might have been a struggle the first week or two, having the kids at home. They've got a lot of energy, or they have a lot of demands of you. And for the first week, maybe you're just doing like all kinds of fun stuff. Let's do, a PJ day. Let's do a creative arts day or creative day where we just like, draw pictures and play with the paints, and like maybe we'll build something with Legos for like, and maybe that's like the first week, because at that time, many of us didn't know how long this was going to last. Now with officials, the government, local officials coming out and saying, well, in my city, I think we're looking at another 2 weeks, something like that. In your city, it might be longer or less time. But now that we are being told and we have more of a solid picture of how long we're going to be in this situation, now you might be rewriting things. Okay, me playing with the kids 24/7 and, indulging them and watching all kinds of watching Frozen like for the 58th time today, that's out the window. Next week, let's start in on something more solid. Let's start in on something that's more feasible or reliable or practical, right? So, now maybe your local school is giving you guys like guidance on how to, keep kids up to date with like what is expected of, school district criteria in terms of getting them advancing to the next grade. Okay, so by this date or by this, I don't know. I don't have kids, so I'm not even speaking to anybody who has children. All my immediate friends, we're all childless. We're a coven. I'm kidding. But anyway, so I don't know all the ins and outs or the specifics, but I'm imagining it's something like that, where you're being given guidelines, you're being given possible instructions or ideas, and then you're working with what you got. Okay, I'm not the best at if this is you speaking, possibly Aquarius, about what you plan to do. Okay, I'm not the best at English, so I'm going to leave that part to your dad or your mom, or we'll just work on that together as best we can. But I got you in terms of math and science. So we're going to do science experiments this week. We're going to build the volcano. We're going to do the whole thing with magnets. I'm going to order some magnets from Amazon because it's not a food item. Oh, it's going to get here in 3 weeks. Okay, so we're going to skip the magnet exercise. It's just this whole thing of rolling with the punches and being very adaptable. This feels like you're being super adaptable with the circumstance at hand. Perfect. Great. Keep it up. Yes. So what happens next? Also, before we move on, pentacles, it's a big old shiny pentacle in this person's hand. Some of you are getting very creative with your spending or being very savvy with your savings, because again, that's a huge crunch on a lot of people. Finances coming in and out of the house what bills are going to be paid, what bills are going to have to be pushed off. And some companies and some utilities are, allowing you to submit that you're going through a hard time financially. And so maybe we can skip stuff. So it's just being really mindful of the money as well. Okay. What else happened? So it's a slow grind to do this, because again, when Aquarius or any of the fixed signs, have a burst of energy, it must be let go of, or it must be released. Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, I would say, and all the signs to varying degrees, but I think that fixed signs tend to have a solid purpose or a solid vision of what they want when they decide to put their energy somewhere. This is what I want to do. This is what I expect of myself or of the situation at hand. Whether we can talk about what we expect of others, it's a little dicey. But I get the sense of having this grand expectation that started with the Three of Pentacles, being adaptable, but then also having to be slow or be patient, and just saying that's okay. A bit of a struggle, because you have the Page of Pentacles here. Earth sign energy towards Virgo, Capricorn. You can be dealing with an earth sign, but you don't have to be. Being okay with things being slow. Oh, see, I was struggling with that myself. Some of you, this is about specifically on the head. Some of you might be working from home because, again, there's a lot of action here, but it's finite, or it's being relegated to a specific way with the Ace of Pentacles. So lots of intention, lots of energy, but it's done in a specific way. And with the page above it, it's being done slowly. So if some of you are, this happened for me, you're used to working in an office with crazy connectivity. I come home working through a VPN, working through my company's network, and they're like, well, our bandwidth isn't the best. We weren't used to this many people being on the network outside of these parameters. So I'm working and it's so slow and it's driving me crazy. I'm able to do my job. I'm able to meet my responsibilities, but my God, just getting documents opened and closed is so slow. It reminds me of the dial-up days of, logging on to AOL. You've got mail. And then I'm waiting for the computer to show me my mail. So I go get a glass of soda or something like that and come back. And it still hasn't shown me my damn mail. That's how slow it is sometimes for me. Now, maybe that's something similar to you. It would be compounded, or would become more difficult to be this resolute when you find out how much longer this whole lockdown is going to affect you. How much longer are you going to be out of work? How much longer, or what type of extension are you going to get on those bills, on that mortgage? Oh, well, we'll give you a 4-week extension. And you're like, but my job isn't talking about going back to work until this date. So, you're calculating in your head, this is going to make things more difficult. I would encourage you not to go off the deep end. And actually, I don't think many of you are going to go that route. Maybe you're dealing with other people who might, but there is sort of this serenity in this card around the Page of Pentacles. So maybe initially you're like, oh man, that's the worst news I could hear. But then you're kind of like, okay, but I can make it work. But there's still something here that says I can make it work even if I don't want to. And again, that goes to that fixed sign thing of, I don't want to do it that way. I plan to do it this way. Now I have to alter my plans. And it's beyond annoyed. When a fixed sign is I want to do it that way, and the circumstances change, and it's just well, shit, damn it. And that, if you don't know much about astrology, just the name itself should tell you, fixed signs are fixed. It's this is what I want. And then the powers that be, other people, the circumstances say, well, it's not going to be like that. And you're fist of rage. Okay, fine. And then you begin to formulate another plan. You know what I mean? It's just having to change from one plan to the next, one avenue or approach, and then moving it to another avenue, and then maybe having to move it a third time. You're just too done. like, fucking hell, how many times do I have to change my game plan here? How many times do I have to, in some cases, be patient, you know? Now, that again can apply to so many things. I think many of you are like really focused on your career, your stability, what is bringing in resources. How are you maintaining your household? How are you able to maintain, in some cases, your sanity or your life as making your life as normal as possible, considering the bigger picture, considering the global atmosphere that we're all living in right now, right? So you might have a moment, yeah, or you're dealing with another person who's like a little less able to deal with this. Let's see. Is this another person? Because I think that's where we're going. Yeah, some of you are dealing with, yes, okay. Some of you are dealing with another person. And this is, okay. Ooh, now we're getting to the juice, the meat and potatoes of this reading. Because that felt really peaceful. This whole corner over here feels pretty solid, pretty serene. Okay, I see. Yeah, it's about to get juicy. Okay, here we go. Emperor. Major arcana for Aries. So some of you could be dealing with an Aries, but you don't have to be. So here we go, boss man. And this could be your boss, just for a few of you or however many of you it applies to. This could be your boss, or it could be someone in a position of leadership that you kind of have to answer to, or somebody that who's in a position of leadership who you work alongside. Other aspects of the Emperor is father or husband material or archetype. So this is a domineering figure point. That's the point. This person is a domineering person, domineering figure. They have a lot of gravitas. They have a lot of they're a heavy hitter is how they're making me feel about this. I mean, look at this guy, this archetype, this vision of a hunter. He's giving me, like, for those who are old enough, and he doesn't like look it in the face, but it's like giving me like old Hollywood, like Clark Gable kind of shit. And his ears are way too small to be Clark Gable. But it's like this very virile, very masculine energy. And this doesn't have to be a male. Females have tons of masculinity. Well, not tons, but we all have masculine and feminine. If you're familiar with tarot, you kind of already know that. If you follow anything in astrology, you should probably understand that your entire chart is a mix of feminine and masculine energy. So anyway, energetically speaking, this person is very strong-willed. They're very headstrong. Look at that rhino. I'm getting stubbornness from the rhino. I'm assuming the deer is actually a buck. Let me see. Well, it might just be a deer. Because I was looking to see if there were like antlers on the top here, but there aren't. But there is another like animal head next to the rhino that's cut off that we can't see. But I'm getting the sense of like this person. Oh, and there's tusks behind him. There's a globe here. Like this guy or girl, very accomplished. They get around, or that's their whole thing. They're very independent. They're very strong. They're very structured, super stoic. Just a lot of power. There's a lot of power behind this person. And it could be you, Aquarius. It is a general. But I get the sense that because in this moment, we are dealing with the loss of autonomy, we're dealing with the loss of independence or freedom to certain extents. It's not to say you can't leave your home at all, but at least where I live, you're really not supposed to go anywhere unless you go into the grocery store or the pharmacy to go see a sick relative, or you are an essential worker working in the medical field or working in some other capacity that is aiding towards this crisis. My little job, my little desk job where I click a mouse all day, not essential. Stay your ass at home. So this person, unless they're in that essential group, they're really having a hard time sitting still, being in the house, being confined. They're having a hard time not having anything to do. They're having a hard time not being in control. The underlying part that is one of the most strong when it comes to the Emperor is being in control. This person is suffering because they can't control things, or they're They're not used to having to wait. With that globe there, I feel like this person is so used to just picking up and going where they want, whenever they want, of being able to grab the keys, get in the car, take a drive anywhere, grab their passport, travel across the seas, go anywhere, take a walk around the block. Nope. I mean, you can do that. You should be able to do that. But this person is just like not used to being so confined. And that could be, okay, thank you. Remember I had said about the Three of Wands, how someone here is wanting to get away from? Because in many cases, the Three of Wands is about going towards. It's the same motion, if you think about it. When you do this, if you, these, like little feet, right? Doing this walk with my hand, I'm moving this way. I'm moving towards the top of the table. I'm simultaneously moving away from the bottom ledge of the table. Both things, the motion is true for both things, for both scenarios. So what I'm feeling is there is a scenario where some of you are trying to move away from someone, move away from a circumstance. And I said that about the job, but in relation to the Emperor being right there. And remember, look at her face. Look at little, doppelganger Selma Hayek. If she would focus. Please focus. You won't focus? Dang you. Oh, she was there for a second. There she is. She looks a little worried. She looks a little like, I gotta go. Like, I gotta get out of here. So whether that means permanently move away, I don't know. It could be, again, just being in close quarters for such long periods of time. Somebody just needs a break. And I mean, a lot of us, we probably take for granted that when we are at work, we're away from our kids, we're away from our spouse, we're away from our roommates, we're away from our parents or whoever we live with. For God's sakes, I'm away from my dog. Like, I love you, Sparky. I love your Mr. Cute, Mr. Cute fuzzy tail. I love you so much. But man, being home all day with you, like, you require so much of my attention, or you're wanting, just as an example, you love your dog, you love your kids, you love your mom, you love whoever you live with, but all the time, 24/7, so there is this desire for either the Emperor to move away from the Three of Wands person, or the Three of Wands person to move away from the Emperor, or it's mutual. Whether or not, again, that's long-term, I don't really know, but I'm telling you, that is very much present in some of your situations. I need a break, and there's only so much square footage in this house. There's only so many times I could go outside and take a walk to the park or take a walk to the pharmacy, just walking through CVS, just strolling around. And, I don't know what they're doing where you are. I don't think they're doing it here, but they're telling us on the news, I'm paraphrasing here, basically, don't fart around when you're out in public. Get what you need to get and go back home. So there is like this imperative that if you leave your house, you are not to be hanging around and just like dilly-dallying. You're supposed to be out there on a mission, on purpose, or with purpose, and you're supposed to return back to where you came from. That is not jiving between two people or more than two people, depending on, what your living situation is. And I feel that the Emperor is like definitely not about it, because he or she is so used to the comings and goings of their own actions, period. And to be told to stay put, and to be told to stay put and not have any type of control. I'm getting, and I'm not trying to stereotype here, but I'm getting the sense of like a very strong character, male or female, who is not used to having to be quiet or to be still or to be considerate of other people, if I'm honest. And it's right next to this page. So in some of the cases, not stereotyping, but this could be a parent who is a little used to being hands off, or is just used to being the breadwinner, is used to being, the parent that's, the quote unquote bad cop, so the whole mommy, play with me, daddy, play with me, regardless, that could be even like a 12-year-old. Hey, mom, do you want to play a board game? Do you want to do this? And the mom or the dad is like, we just played this game yesterday. We just, and my voice, see, and my voice is getting low. So this is like also another thing about the emperor. The emperor is not used to having to explain themselves. Why do I have to tell you no? It should be obvious that I am over watching Frozen. I am over listening to this music. I don't want to play that damn game with you again. This person is just like struggling. Whoo, because they're not in control and they're having to cooperate, and they're having to it's kind of fucked up. This person has to be present in their own family or in their own domestic space in a way that they are not used to. You know, this could be somebody, again, emperor energy is a provider, is somebody who is in a position of leadership, or they're a breadwinner, and they take pride in that, and they're very good at that. But they are emotionally very stoic. They're emotionally not open, and they're definitely not pleasant to be around when they're in a bad mood. I don't care what their sign is. I don't care what their gender is. I don't care how old they are. I don't care. They're just not a warm and fuzzy character ever, or for long periods of time. Let's say it that way, because I'm not getting truly that this person is heartless. They're not. Emperors, whether they're male or female, again, they care about the people that they care about will be taken care of. But there's just a certain aspect of how this person is being asked to take care of others or be considerate of others, and they're not able to do it. They're very inequipped, or it's just super difficult. And, you know, it might be down to the person's, you know, just their disposition. I can't stand children's cartoons. Turn it off. But I want to watch. Turn it off. Are they ruling by an iron fist in the house? I don't know. But again, that's very domestic. That's very specific to people that are dealing with, you know, living with family or other loved ones, right? In terms of this being a boss situation, just to bring it back to that, this coming, you know, this movement here, which is going towards and also simultaneously walking away from, I think that the Three of Wands person, if this is a boss, you know, your boss could be hammering on you. Like, how come you're not, you know, this is not happening for me, but in my experience, but this could be happening for other people in my company. You might have a boss or a supervisor or a manager who's just like, well, I'm watching your numbers and I'm looking at this and I'm looking at that, and how come this and how come that? And it's just like, I'm working at home. Like, it's a whole different scenario. For, in the case of my brother, there are certain aspects of his job that he can't do even though he's working from home, right? So if his boss had a certain expectation, well, how come this and how come that? Because I'm not at work. I don't have the equipment at that's in the office, that's in where I work at home. The only thing I have at home is this damn laptop. I can't do everything that I'm supposed to do. You know what I mean? So the expectation or the normal vibe for the emperor is not jiving with them in these new circumstances. So this boss could be super demanding, even though the circumstances have changed like a 180, a complete 180. This person is not, in some sense, they're not coping well. Okay. There, oh man, what a complication. Because there's a lot there. There's a lot. Anyway, so this is stressful for everybody. Right? Mm-hmm. Pardon me. This is stressful for everybody. 10 of Wands. Oh, come now. For like 2 seconds, you were like really focused. But I think you still get the picture, even though it's not crystal clear. Though I would prefer it was crystal clear. Dang it. It's so weird how just, okay, there you go. So here we have someone who, this woman on the card, burned at the stake, essentially. I love these dark decks for some reason, these macabre decks. Anyway, bearing the brunt of this stress. I think this is for all the adults in the room. Let's say that. Or all the people who are kind of age. Because, you know, teenagers could be involved here. I mean, pages usually indicate smaller children, you know, pre-adolescence. But, you know, for those where, you know, you've got like a 17-year-old at home, they're feeling this as well. But for mostly the adults involved who are at home, or this is a work situation, everybody's feeling this stress. Everybody's feeling the weight of this. And, you know, you could be dealing with a lot of type A personalities or a lot of strong personalities, period, Aquarius. It could be you and one other person, it could be you and like 2 other people or 4 other people on a team who it's just difficult to navigate this space at this time. It's difficult to work with someone whose expectations really haven't altered all that much, or their behavior hasn't really adapted all that much, while someone else is trying their best to make adaptations, to think on their feet, and think outside the box and make things work. You have somebody who's just like wanting things to be as is, status quo, and the circumstances at hand are really not allowing for that. And so that brings a burden or puts pressure on everybody else. This person isn't altering their behavior. They're not altering their expectations. They're being kind of stubborn. And so now we have to carry the burden of that person being how they are. That's what this feels like. And you can apply that to all situations, whether it's family, whether it's work, could just be between 2 people in a love relationship, could be 2 friends. Like I said, for someone who might be like opening up a business, this could be your business partner if you have one, right? So the 10 of Wands is a burden that we carry willingly. Because again, look at the face of this woman. She doesn't look scared to be up there, tethered to those wands, tethered to those that bundle of wood and being burned alive, right? She does it knowing her fate. So somebody here is rolling with the punches, doing the best they can because this is what they have decided is the best course of action. Now, I'm not saying that to insinuate that, oh my God, because of a pandemic and because people can't, handle change, you should just chuck your relationships out the window, or like you were intending, you should just chuck your job out the window. No, you have to adapt to the situation at hand. Now is not the time in this particular reading. Now is not the time to make drastic decisions. That 10 of Wands increases stress, increases burden, increases this feeling of, oh my God, when is this going to end? Oh my God, I can't take it a moment longer. However, on the other side is that eventual change. On the other side is that eventual release of the 10 of Wands, or of these 10 Wands, because 10s are culmination points. It's like just a little while longer and you'll cross the finish line and you will be able to unburden yourself, or you'll be able to start over again in a new cycle, because the 10s always jump back down to the aces. So this is temporary. How much the high level of stress, the high level of anxiety, the high level of dissatisfaction or turbulent energy of, again, some of you are just like, I can't stand it another day in this apartment, having to overhear my neighbors arguing all the time, or they're having sex all the time. How many times can you have sex in a day? It's only Tuesday. Why are you guys doing, it's like, whatever is bothering you or bothering someone else, it's temporary, in the grand scheme of things, you know what I mean? 3, 4, 5 weeks in the grand scheme of a year is a small portion, right? In the grand scheme of your entire lifetime, it's like nothing. But to live through it, to have to face it day in, day out, especially for someone who's used to getting up and going where they want, acting in their own behest and being independent, as well as somebody who has a lot of bright new ideas, and they're plugging towards a future, they're plugging towards a goal, and being told, you got to stop where you are, hold up a second, right? So that's that weight, that is that burden that is represented by the 10 of Wands. Yeah, I don't think there's much else to say about the 10 of Wands. It's pretty straightforward. And again, please be mindful that if you are living with people who are quote unquote not of age, I'm not here to dictate to you, but I do get the sense that there are kids, not necessarily small kids, but just kids, 13 years old, 17, 4 years old, whatever year, however old these kids are. I do get the sense that that is trickling down to them, let's say, this stress, this burden. And again, I'm not a therapist. I'm not any type of child psychologist. I'm not your mother. I'm not your friend. I'm not anybody who knows you personally. But I get the sense that if there are children, they're also being affected by this turbulent and constrictive energy. They might be carrying one of these little wands on their little backs. You know what I mean? So if you're cautious or curious as to how they're being affected, they're being affected. Let's just say that. Final card in your main spread. There you go. That's why we're transitioning into this Nine of Swords. So here we go. Worry, worry, worry. As this thing drags on, as this new normal is stretched out and is extended, and we keep living in it for the next couple of days or the next few weeks, whatever it is, it's just adding to uh, somebody's nighttime disturbances. Let's say that. I think someone might have some anxiety. Someone might have some couple of days of insomnia, maybe even weeks of insomnia. Um, Pardon me. Oh my God, that came out of nowhere. Pardon me. Somebody is like super affected mentally. And I think it's, I hope, I should say this, I hope, because in some of you, okay, I will say that in some of the readings that I've done before yours, Aquarius, you're the 11th sign, so I've done practically everybody. The conditioning, or excuse me, the condition, the circumstances that we're living in, the quarantines, the lockdowns, the restricted movement, right? Social distancing and all that stuff, that has been pointing to a deeper issue. I'm not sure in your case it's a necessarily deeper issue. It could be. It could be. I'm going to open it up and say that it could be. But in a lot of readings that I've been doing, this is just, symptomatic or just is signaling to something that was going on well before these restrictions and social distancing came about. In other readings, I was picking up on things that happened, years before. Yours feels very much in this moment that we're living in. Since the beginning of social distancing and locking down, this has bubbled up. And maybe that's what is extra worrisome with the Nine of Swords, is that how quickly things have devolved, or how quickly things have felt out of hand or out of proportion, or have been so stressful. And like, maybe, maybe for some of you in your own personality or in your own disposition, I thought I could handle this. You may have thought, oh, I've gone on retreats before. I've been, I've gone on vacations where I haven't spoken to my family for like 2 weeks at a time because I was backpacking and doing all this other kind of stuff. Staying at home, no problem. Day 3, you're like FaceTiming every contact that you have. You're talking to every person you've ever known, because it's a different type of restriction. It's a different type of disconnection, right? So I feel as though things ramped up very quickly. Therefore, they might de-escalate just as quickly as we move forward, as we get out of this, out of these circumstances. That's my hunch. However, to go through it again in the day-to-day for the Emperor, and maybe even the Three of Wands person who has a lot of get up and go, a lot of good intentions or ideas, but not having anywhere to put them, or not having the ability to exercise it and get it out fully, that could be incredibly imprisoning for both of these characters, or just one of them. And the thing about the Nine of Swords is like, it's a punishing energy. I feel as though maybe punishing. No, that's about right. They're telling me. It's like you punish yourself because you're not coping, or you punish yourself because I could see that. You punish yourself because maybe, one day was like a really bad day. Like maybe you had like a huge argument with the person that you live with, or you've had a nasty email exchange back and forth between you and your business partner, or you and your boss, right? And so you begin to panic. You begin to feel like, oh my God, I screwed it up. I screwed it up beyond repair. I did the worst thing ever. I'll never be able to recuperate from this. That's the punishment, because you get into like a mental cycle of this is over, or oh my God, I've made it worse, or I'll never be able to recuperate from what was said or what was done. I would be cautious to give into that energy, whoever is experiencing that. I think that that might, okay, there we go. That might be heightened because of the circumstances we're all living in. That person might normally never think in those terms. That person might be very, water off a duck's back. Nothing phases them. Often the Emperor is like that. This could be the Emperor. They're not used to being this out of control. Therefore, they become self-conscious, or they become self-critical. That can go in a lot of ways, but tread away from as much as you can, or tread very lightly in that Nine of Swords energy, whoever that is, because I think it can make things worse. There's no it could make things worse. And there's no reason to make them worse. Outcome for mid-March for you, Aquarius, is the Two of Cups. So here we go. For some of you, this is going to be the reestablishment of a wonderful connection that you have, or a wonderful, peaceful connection. That's interesting. Okay. So again, no, that's, oh, I see it. I see it now. Okay. This is going to suddenly take a turn, and this is very specific for like a handful of people, maybe one or two people, maybe, just a small amount of people. And I hope you can follow me, because it's not for everybody. But for some, where this is about a domestic situation where one partner is trying to get away from the other, but because of the circumstances at hand, they have been restricted, held back, literally confined to their house with the partner that they don't want to be with. Once all that is, this lockdown is over and the doors can open, literally, you can go outside and you can go visit people, which is what, weeks or months down the line, some people are projecting. You get to this Two of Cups space where you meet or you reunite with someone who is the desired partner. Let's say that, right? That feels far-fetched. Not far-fetched as in it's not true. Far-fetched as in it's a long ways away, or in the time you have spent away from this person or they've spent away from you, or whatever it is, it's like a, hey, how are you? I'm good. How are you? It's like that start over, redo, back to square one kind of thing. However, there is like this tether, I'm feeling, this tether between you and this person where it's like, yeah, like you might approach them with uncertainty, or they might approach you, or whatever it is, because of this time apart, right? Literally, because many of us are on this, you can't go anywhere. You're not supposed to be making social calls. And if you're following the rules, maybe you haven't made any social calls. Maybe you haven't talked to this person. You haven't seen them. You haven't spoken to them. You haven't visited them, anything. In that particular case, for a few of you, it's like when you talk to them again, it's like, hey, what's up? How are you? I'm good. How are you? And it's very, friendly and all that kind of stuff. But over time, again, it builds back up. It's a slow build back up to, you are the person I want to work with. You are the person I want to date. You are the person I want to spend my time with, etc., etc. This could be business. This could be love. This could be old friends. I don't know what it is. But they're, again, specific to the people who are in the situation of walking away from someone, but you can't walk away. You have been pulled back, right? You've been pulled back like a dog on a leash. Come back here. And you have to be confined in a place, in a specific time with someone that you're kind of like, you stress me out. You give me anxiety, So you move in somewhere down the line in the future. There is this Two of Cups situation with someone who is not in your life presently. That's for a few of you. For others of you, this is the reunion between the person that you are with right now. The business partner, the boss, the friend, the lover, the husband, the wife, whatever. This is the, hey, that was crazy. Remember COVID-19? Oh my God. Can you imagine? It's like eventually getting back to this fondness, eventually getting back to this, business as usual. The emperor, you give the emperor enough room to run. You give the emperor enough room to spread his wings and be the boss of things. He or she, again, there's no gender. You give this person what they need. You give the Three of Wands character the creative freedom that they need. And we get back to, we're good. We're good for each other. We're meant for each other. We are connected. We are great partners. We are on the same page, and there's this symbiosis. Thank you. Yes, in that particular case, there's a symbiotic relationship here, and maybe it's kind of traditional. I'm not judging because I don't think it's wrong, but there might be this traditional relationship of the man goes out and is the breadwinner and goes out and hunts down the big game, brings home the money, brings home the bacon, and the wife stays at home and she takes care of the domestic duties. Now, if that has been your bag for the past 15 years, and all of a sudden, big bad emperor has to sit home with you all day and the kids, and he's not used to that. And again, I'll flip it because, again, there's no gender here. It could be the woman. It could be a homosexual relationship, a gay relationship. It could be two guys, whatever. Now that we all get to go back to normal, I get to stay home, take care of the errands for the house, make sure things are cool. I have to go on business trips. I got to do this, that, and the other. Now that we have that, we get back to that symbiotic relationship, that relationship where we are complementary to each other. You provide things to me that I can't provide to myself, and vice versa. And I say can't, but it's just, you're better at it. You're better at doing the things, honey. I can't do that. And the partner says to you, well, yeah, you're good at the things I can't do, and I thank you for it. And if that's your bag, that's your story, perfect. Regardless of what it is, there is a significant connection that is best when people can do the things interdependent of each other. You can do things for yourself, and then when you are in need, someone steps in and helps you, and vice versa. Interdependent or interconnected, Overall energy, going back to that first scenario, listen, friends. You have the Lover's card in the overall. So major arcana for Gemini. Some of you could be dealing with a Gemini, but you don't have to be. This one focused so good. That was so quick. Anyway, look at it. Look at it. Study it, friends. Some of you, this is about an outside relationship, which is not typical of the Lover's card, but look at the art. You've got this couple in this sensual embrace with one another, and then you have a picture frame of a woman looking in on them, right? Woman on his lap, woman doing her thing on top of that man, okay? She's blonde. The woman in the photo, brunette. Not the same lady. I don't think that's a picture of his mother or his sister or his cousin. I think this is the picture of his significant other or her significant other. Ooh, how about that? Ooh, it could go that way too. All right. I thought you loved me, Susan. I do love you, Cindy, but I also have a thing for Brad, So I'm trying to make levity of it because I don't think that resonates for the majority of the people I'm talking to. But very specifically for a few of you, that Two of Cups, that walking away from is literally, I want to go see my piece on the side, my side biscuit. I want to make them the main course, or I just want them to be a regular supply of biscuit. Maybe I want to keep my main, but I want to also have a regular supply of biscuit. I don't know your situation. I don't know the specifics, but that is on the table. So we have been talking about a struggle to deal with or work through the main course when all someone has been wanting was the side. I don't want to work through this main course. I want to get to the dessert. I want to get to the sweeter part of the meal, That's just for a few. Again, it connects overall, especially with the, I want to go over here, but you can't. I want to reconnect, but it won't happen until sometime down the line. More to the traditional understanding of what the Lovers is talking about. And that kind of is here too. It is about choice, right? Head over heart decisions is sometimes what people talk about when they talk about the Lovers card, Aquarius. And I think that is somewhat here, but again, I don't think it's, for most of you, a choice between two people. In some cases, yes. But in most of your cases, I think it's a matter of balance, of perspective, of not going off the deep end, right? Or maintaining your composure, which is a challenge for the Emperor or someone like the Emperor. It's a challenge to maintain your composure when things are out of your control, when you're not able to make choice, or when you've been restricted in some type of way. So There's a need to remain calm. There's a need to remember the beauty of a situation. When we talk about the lovers, there's a call to remember the love and the compassion and the connectivity between you and other people that you know and love, and to not give so much into the dire side of your circumstances, to remain hopeful, to remain aware of the brighter side of things, or the more, again, the more beautiful side of things. Okay. Yeah, they're just like, that's it. Aquarius, like they just told me, that's it. That is your reading for mid-March. If you liked it, there is a like button down below. Go ahead and hit that for me. If you want to let me know how this reading resonated in your life, feel free to do so. There's a comment section down below. You can go ahead and leave me any comment that you like. I will respond in some way or fashion. If you want to share this video, let other people know that you like my stuff, that'd be cool. And of course, guys, please subscribe if you have not subscribed. The channel continues to grow, meeting new clients, getting in touch with new people. It's been amazing, and I would love to see that continue on. So if you want to help support me in any other way, or in any way that you can, subscribing is the biggest one. Liking and commenting are also big ones, and of course sharing the video as well. Friends, if you want to reading with me, again, that information is in the description box below. And if you, again, want to join me on Instagram, it is EmpathicFire Tarot over on Instagram. Go ahead and give me a follow, all right? Aquarius, I'll be back soon to do the April readings, and then the mid-April I will be going live for Aquarius, or excuse me, not Aquarius, I'll be going live for Aries. So you did have Aries show up. So if some of you are dealing with an Aries and you're kind of curious what's going on in their head, you can come on by the chat room and just sit there and watch, grab some popcorn, a few Skittles, or Raisinets if you're into that. Ugh. Anyway, and you can just chill out and join me there for the live for their birthday season if you choose. Yeah, that's totally up to you. So thank you guys so much for watching this video today. I really do appreciate it. Take care.